All right, folks, today my son Richard Rush behind the camera. I'm John Rush, your host, and today we're going to do the review of the 2017 Chrysler 300. This is the S model of the 300 with the V6 Pentastar engine. Not a lot of changes for 2017. Some of it's on the interior. We'll show you that here in just a few minutes. Basically unchanged from 2016. With the exception of a few different things that you can get as far as colors and some things along those lines, and the S model with some different wheel combinations and things like that, one of them being on this car. So tell you what, let's just get right into it. And just to start with, I'll tell you right now, the 300, personally one of my favorite cars. I love driving this car. They're smooth, they're quiet, they're economical for a full-size luxury car, which I would consider this car to be. Really, you're looking at the mid-40s, fully equipped with the V6 engine. You get the Handy, of course, it's going to be a little more than that. Beautiful red color on this particular car, and you'll notice these, they call them a grayed out wheel. It's really got kind of a brown, really kind of a brownish gray tint to it, if you would. Really a good looking car, and this is, of course, the S model of the 300. And again, one of my favorite cars. There's, again, a few styling changes that they did a couple of years ago. Nothing significant, again, for 2017, as you can tell from looking at the vehicle. We'll get into the sky roof here in just a minute once we get to the interior. But I'll tell you what, since we're back on this end, let's just go right to the trunk. And one thing it does have is an easy opening trunk. You push that. It's not automatic, but you'll just see the way it's spring-loaded. It just pops right open. Works really well. Got a nice, spacious trunk here in the back. And, you know, plenty of room for luggage, anything else you want to put in. You'll notice the Beats subwoofer back here in the back. As I flip up the carpet, you'll notice that's where the spare tire and such is underneath here. Nothing major. This compartment folds up, which I'm not going to do right now because the net's in the way, but not a big deal. You'll notice there's plenty of room back here in the back. Plenty of room for luggage, anything else. And again, not an automatic opening and closing trunk. Not that it's necessary. Put it back down. You just pull it, shut it, and away you go. Let's step, I think, over to this side with the lighting, which is a little better for the back seat. And I'll move the snow brush here. And you'll notice this seat here is back quite a ways. In fact, you could put over 6 foot tall person in the front seat. As I climb into the back seat, you'll notice I've got plenty of leg room. It doesn't look like there's much leg room, but actually there's plenty of leg room back here. I've got plenty of headroom, even with the full sunroof, the sky roof, I guess you would call it, which, Richard, if you can get a shot of that, you'll notice even with the sky roof, the indentation is forward enough that even if I had a hat on or if I was taller, it wouldn't be a problem. You'd have plenty of room back here. Apportionments on the side panel here, or the door panel, I should say. This is sort of a soft feel. Even though it's kind of looks harder, it actually is not. It's actually a softer, sort of a rubbery material. You'll notice the wood grain trim. Soft touch on the door pad, of course, and there is a center console that folds down here in the middle, and it does have actually some storage spots in it. You do have heated seats back here, two USB ports, and there is a shade that goes up and down here in the back as well. Outside of that, plenty of room in the back seat. All right, again, finishing up the back seat here. Again, plenty of leg room, plenty of room. It is seated for 3 people back here, 5 passengers, but frankly, 4 passengers, very comfortable. The 5th, you'd have to have a very small adult or a small person in the middle to get your 5 in there. Good storage capacity in the doors, again, for water bottles, things along those lines. One thing we have not tested with this car, though, and if you're somebody that's got kids with car seats, that's something you'd have to check on your own. It looks to me like there's plenty of room where you could put a car seat in here and be just fine, but you'd need to be the judge of that and check it out for yourself. Let's hop into the front seat. Again, 2017 Chrysler 300S. All right, folks, favorite part, in my opinion, of the 300S 2017 Chrysler is the front seat. It's a driver's car as far as I'm concerned. Works very well. Everything is laid out exceptionally well. Dash, center stack, shifter here, nice storage compartment there. Another spot here where you can actually put your phone sideways in it. 2 cup holders, center console, 2 USB ports, auxiliary port, and a 12-volt power port there as well. This does close to make that look nice and neat. You'll notice the S embroidered into the nice leather seats, which again, they do a nice job on these. They're very comfortable seats. Richard's showing you the door panel, the apportionments there. Again, I think the 300 are great value. Again, mid-40s for this car. Really get a lot of money for a lot of car for your money, I guess I should say. And again, for 2017, not a lot of changes. The main one being, what we'll show you here, as soon as we take a test drive. And let's do that right now. All right, folks, going to take a drive. Before we do, we always show you some of the center stack features, what's in the radio, AV, nav, that sort of stuff. And I'll show you the backup camera in a second. But since we're in the shade here and it's nice to see, they have redone the Uconnect system for 2017 for this vehicle. The addition of Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, I believe they call it. That's all now built into the new Uconnect system. And you'll just see it's just a different interface, got a glossier finish to it. The layout is actually much better, I think. But as far as all the controls go, that's all the same, which we've come to love when it comes to Uconnect. You can look at the radio side of it, go to media, your climate control. You can actually change your temperatures, which I'm going to do right now because it's hot in here at the moment. You can actually turn off your seat, your seat heaters and ventilation. All that's controlled. Fan speed you can control as well. All your Uconnect apps are there underneath that icon. When you want to go do the heated steering wheel, you can turn it on and off right there. And by the way, all of these buttons down below, you can customize to whatever you want to do. You really can just drag and drop whatever you want in your main menu down below, much like you would your iPhone or your Android, you know, your smartphone, I guess is what I should say. Outside of that, all the rest of your controls are built in here. Defrosters, your heat controls, AC, dual climate control both sides. If you want lane departure off, you do that here. Parking assist off as well. If you want to turn the screen completely off, you can do that as well. When I go to back up, you'll notice that it does have dynamic grid lines. And it's got a really nice camera system on it. It's very clear. You can just see, if I was going to back into the garage with the door open, of course, you can just see exactly where you're at and how things work. And you can actually see the back end of the bumper down below, which, again, this car, for what you get, great vehicle. Adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, all of that, again, in the mid-40s. That's part of the reason why this is one of our favorite cars. Let's go take a quick drive. All right, folks, now we're going to drive the 2017 Chrysler 300S. And again, one of the things I love the best about this car is the way it drives. It handles well, it drives well. Took a drive last night in it, my wife and I both. And kind of a windy road we were on last night up against the foothills here in Colorado. And the car just performs well, handles well. And believe it or not, even with the V6, 300 plus horsepower in the Pentastar V6, and honestly, I really don't know, other than just maybe wanting the sheer extra power coming out of the Hemi V8, I don't know that you really need it in this car. This V6 works exceptionally well. For all the things that we did with it the last week, it performs phenomenally. This is the all-wheel drive version of this particular car, and one of the things that Chrysler has prided themselves on the all-wheel drive feature on this car is the ability for it to disconnect and connect instantaneously. It drives much like a rear-wheel drive car does, you know, the majority of the time, until you need that extra traction. Then instantaneously the front will kick in and you've got the traction that you need. So Richard, real quick, what do you think about this particular vehicle?
I thought it was a blast to drive. I was skeptical at first. It's just not my cup of tea in terms of a car, but overall it impresses. We actually went to the revamp, I believe it was about 3 years ago, that Chrysler revamped this vehicle, and honestly, I really like the look of it, the LED headlights. I believe it's got adaptive headlights on it as well.
Yes.
So a lot of luxurious features, and you and I were just talking that this definitely right below $50,000 competes in that, I wouldn't say upper range, but maybe mid-range luxury market.
Yeah, and Richard just said it all. He's right, and I forgot to mention the adaptive headlights. Again, great car for the money. It works fantastic. It's quiet on the interior. It's got different modes if you want to do sport and all those different things. That's all included with it as well. And paddle shifters up here, which I didn't talk about much because, frankly, just my opinion, when you're looking at a luxury car, the paddle shifters to me just aren't a big deal. But this car handles well. And the S being the sport model, I guess you could say, of the 300, this car does work phenomenally well for a full-size sedan. I've rented these cars before on vacation, and like I said earlier, this is one of my favorite cars. And Richard kind of alluded to the fact that it's not really maybe his car and maybe his generation, although you're seeing younger and younger buyers driving this car, again, because of the way it looks, the way it handles, and ultimately because of the value that it provides. Really full luxury, as Richard said a moment ago, for under $50,000. So with that, go out, check out this car at your local Chrysler dealer, and when you do, tell them that John and Richard Rush from Drive Radio sent you.